In the natural world, each creature has its own unique quirks and challenges. From goats to ants, nature surprises us with its diversity and complexity. Goats frozen in fear. Goats have a peculiar characteristic: when they get scared, they tend to stay completely still. This can be a problem, especially if they are near a cliff. Imagine the chaos when thunder booms and all the goats stand still, at risk of falling. What kind of superpower is this? The goats did not choose it, but it is a curious adaptation that nature has given them. The dance of the ants in circles. Ants, known for their organization and teamwork, can also experience lapses in their behavior. Sometimes, due to a bug in their social algorithm, they start walking in circles. More and more ants join the dance, creating a strange spectacle. This phenomenon, first described by William Vive in the 1920s, can result in circles up to 370 meters in diameter. It is an amazing spectacle that shows the complexity of life in the ant kingdom. But it's not just ants, even fish can form circles under certain circumstances. This behavior, although less common than in ants, remains an enigma for scientists. The king of the rats. The king of the rats phenomenon seems like something out of a horror movie, but unfortunately it is a reality for some of these creatures. First discovered in 1564, this strange event occurs when rats become entangled by their tails and starve to death in that position. The hypothesis suggests that skin oil, food debris, and other elements act like glue, forming a knot that hardens during sleep, especially in cold climates. As the rats struggle to free themselves, the noose tightens, leading to their deaths. This phenomenon is extremely rare and is considered a bad sign in popular culture, since where there are rats, there are diseases. The mystery of the dog mummified in a tree. In the 1980s, a group of loggers working in southern Georgia made an extraordinary discovery. While cutting down trees, one of them accidentally found a hollow trunk and was stunned to discover the remains of a perfectly mummified dog inside, still showing its teeth. Experts who examined the remains concluded that the dog had probably chased a squirrel in the 1960s and gotten stuck in the tree trunk. He climbed too high, couldn't turn around, and finally died. However, instead of becoming food for other animals in the forest, the dog became a mummy due to the unique conditions of the tree. The wood of the chestnut tree in which he was trapped prevented his decomposition. The dry environment inside the trunk protected it from the elements and absorbed moisture from the body, resulting in its mummification. This case is truly unique, as normally corpses in the forest are eaten by insects, but in this case, nature provided a unique scenario that allowed the preservation of the dog for decades. The role of insects in decomposition. In the natural cycle, any corpse is susceptible to becoming food for insects, especially in the forest. Scientists have observed this phenomenon and, in fact, take advantage of the voracity of insects to clean skeletons in their studies. A notable example of this is the ability of some beetles to consume even the body of a deer. It is unfortunate for the deer, which not only became trapped in the fissure, but also became food for these insects. However, we must recognize the remarkable work done by the beetles. Just look at how the bones were perfectly clean thanks to their work. But how curious is the world of collections? While for most people the carcass of a deer would simply be a part of the natural cycle, for others it may become a collector's item. A notable example is James Phillips, who has accumulated more than 16,000 deer, elk, and antelope antlers over more than 60 years. The most surprising thing is that Phillips found all of these items in his collection by pure chance. His ability to find antlers is truly impressive. Although it may seem like a strange hobby to some, everyone has their own interests and passions, and Phillips has proven to be really good at finding these natural treasures. The phenomenon of autocannibalism. It is really surprising and, in some cases, a bit comical, although for the animals involved it is probably not so funny. Snakes are known for this behavior, where they can mistake the movement of their own tail for that of prey, leading them to begin devouring themselves. It's hard to say which option is more ridiculous, a snake confusing itself with its food or going so far as to start eating itself. In any case, this behavior shows us how curious and sometimes strange nature can be. Hummingbirds, the delicate dance for life. These tiny birds face a constant struggle to find enough nectar to feed on. With a rapid metabolism, just 2 hours without nectar can be lethal. To survive, some hummingbirds must visit up to 2,000 flowers a day. Every moment is crucial for these seemingly free creatures, but the reality of their existence is a daily struggle for food and survival. Moose, victims of a deadly parasite. Even forest giants such as elk are not exempt from deadly dangers. A brainworm, common in white-tailed deer, can transform a majestic elk into a walking zombie. This parasite bores directly into the animal's brain, causing neurological damage and ultimately death. It is a terrible death for any living creature, proving that even the largest can be vulnerable to nature. Modern elephants, like their mammoth ancestors, have long had tusks. These tusks are one of their most distinctive features, but unfortunately they have also been one of the main reasons elephants have been pushed towards extinction. In the past, poaching reached crisis levels, with people like Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, shooting 512 different living beings, including elephants, during a safari. Although at that time hunting was not carried out for fun, but to exhibit the animals in museums and for scientific studies, it is still a shocking figure. Elephant poaching has continued to this day, mainly due to the high value of ivory on the Asian market. Poachers look for elephants with larger tusks as they can get more money for them. This has led to an alarming decline in the elephant population around the world. However, evolution has intervened in surprising ways in recent years. In several African parks, there has been an increase in the number of elephants born without tusks. This is because individuals with large tusks are more likely to become victims of poachers, meaning that elephants without tusks have a higher chance of surviving and reproducing. This is an interesting example of how selective pressure exerted by human activity can influence the evolution of a species. Although the situation remains worrying for elephants, these population changes may offer some hope for their long-term survival. Today we will delve into the depths of the jungle to discover 20 amazing wonders that defy all logic. From the shocking presence of a whale in the very heart of the jungle, to surprising evidence that could point to the existence of giants and aliens. But be careful, don't disconnect, because as we progress, we will immerse ourselves in a territory where the disturbing and the intriguing intertwine. So, get ready and immerse yourself with us on this fascinating journey. Number 1. Rotten flesh flower. Have you ever wondered what the largest flower in the world is? Well, that's Rafflesia arnoldii, which grows to about 3.3 feet wide and weighs about 24 pounds. Impressive, but in reality, it is not just any flower. There are 17 known species and they all live deep in the rainforests of Indonesia, Malaysia, Borneo and Sumatra, Thailand and the Philippines. However, this is no ordinary flora to give your girlfriend on Valentine's Day, not because she doesn't have a vase big enough to put it in or anything, but because this flower is known for its smell of rotting meat when it is in full bloom. It is also known as the corpse flower and uses this particular perfume to attract its main pollinator, the carrion fly. You have 5 huge petals with acidic red color and a deep pit in the middle where you enter hoping to find some rotting flesh, but instead you are covered with the pollen of the flower. Number 2. Whale. How on earth is it possible to find a whale weighing 10 tons and 11 meters long in the middle of the Amazon jungle? In February 2019, on the island of Marajo, at the mouth of the Amazon River, a humpback whale was found. Obviously, this animal was lying without a pulse between several tree trunks that it probably broke when it got there. How the hell did it get there? Well, there are several theories, such as that the cetacean came to land after being thrown by a storm while trying to migrate alone, or the whale died at sea and its corpse could have floated to the area where it was found. Let us remember that whales have the physiological ability to adapt to fresh water, but it is still difficult to determine how or why this animal ended up stranded in that place. And what do you think about this unprecedented and sad discovery? Number 3. Giant snake. During a day of invasion of the jungle of the Dominican Republic, an island and state that is part of the Lesser Antilles, a huge reptile that was hidden in the thick vegetation was captured. The video shows the enormous reptile trapped in the claw of the crane that lifts it several meters above the ground. Just before the recording ends, the snake slowly moves its head toward the crane's claw. Although it is not specified which species this specimen corresponds to, it is mentioned that the construction boa is native to this Caribbean island. Until recently, it was believed that the maximum length of the boa could reach about 4 meters, an orbit that the snake in the video far exceeds. Number 4. Giant parrot. In 2008, a team of scientists from the University of New Wales announced the discovery of the remains of a giant parrot near Sundance in central Otago, New Zealand. In an area recognized for containing a great variety of bird fossils from the Miocene period. The giant parrot, also known as Heracles inexpectatus, lived 19 million years ago, was about 1 meter tall and weighed 7 kilograms. Basing their diet on fruits and occasionally birds. Its name seems familiar to you, it is because that is also the name of the hero of Greek mythology, Heracles, letting you know that this unusual parrot was extraordinarily strong. Furthermore, it was an expected but incredible find. It is believed that Heracles inexpectatus could not fly because its wings were not capable of lifting its enormous weight. However, it is possible that this parrot with its enormous thighs was able to climb and slide through the trees. Number 5. Tarzan from real life. This is the case of a man and his son who have been living in the Vietnamese jungles for more than 40 years. During the Vietnam conflicts, O Van Tan, now in his 80s, took his youngest son, O Van Lang, deep into the jungle to escape a U.S. airstrike that left his wife and 2 older children dead. 40 years later, the two were discovered about 40 kilometers away from the nearest town, living in a treehouse. They made their own improvised tools and were even tending a sugar cane plantation. They also had a small fire in the suspended hut and made their own underpants from dried tree bark. When he was discovered, the father could barely walk due to his old age, and even forgot most of the language. His son was in optimal physical condition but did not know the language. Neither of them suffered from any illness, and that is quite shocking. Number 6. Grim spider. In 2018, the photo of a strange arachnid with a head and trunk similar to that of a dog, found in the Amazon jungle of Ecuador, went viral. The image of the rare animal was shared by journalist Faris Jabr, who wrote that the spider could be called grim, like the black dogs that appear in the Grimm book series and are reputed to cause the death of people who undertake them. Obviously, the unusual appearance of the spider provoked thousands of reactions and comments, some pointing out that it was a Photoshop montage. But a group of scientists revealed some details of the strange species, noting that the creature found is an arachnid known as Metagrine bicolumnata, one of the rarest species in the Amazon. According to the Spanish media ABC, the arachnid was discovered by biologist Carlos Pérez from Ecuador in 1959, but it has not been able to be studied in detail to date. Number 7. Hamza River. Hamza, did you know the Hamza River? This is a slow-flowing underground aquifer in Brazil and Peru. It is approximately 6,000 kilometers long, at a depth of almost 4,000 meters. Its discovery was announced in 2011 at a meeting of the Geophysical Society in Rio de Janeiro. The unofficial name is in honor of Indian scientist Valia Manifal Hamza of the National Observatory of Brazil, who has conducted research in the region for 4 decades. Most curiously, the Hamza River and the Amazon River form a geologically unusual instance of a twin river system flowing at different levels of the Earth's crust, that is, where the Amazon River goes, the Hamza River goes. Number 8. Lost City of the Monkey God. Do you know the book The Lost City of the Monkey God? It is a true story written by Douglas Preston after being part of an expedition in 2015. During this expedition, an unexplored city was located deep in the country's rainforests, which belonged to a still unknown civilization. When Preston accompanied a team of archaeologists to explore the city on foot, they found a set of intact ruins overrun by forest, probably untouched since it was abandoned. The cities belonged to a previously unknown civilization, and the reasons for their collapse are not known. Although Preston speculates that apocalyptic pandemics could have played an important role. Although the discovery represents a victory for history and science, the site wanted to remain hidden. The reason is that visitors were greeted by hundreds of deadly snakes and creatures that made discovery a real challenge. And yet the danger continued even after they left. The team discovered that while there, they had been infected by a flesh-eating parasite. Number 9. Prehistoric Stones. The mystery of prehistoric stones. Hundreds of these large stone spheres are scattered throughout the Costa Rican jungle, and are believed to have been built by prehistoric humans. For years, they have baffled scientists and archaeologists about why they are there and how they were built. The spheres vary up to 2.4 meters in diameter and are almost perfectly round, looking like they were built for religious purposes. But there is not enough evidence to confirm this. To this day, it remains a mystery why the stones are there and how prehistoric humans managed to shape them with the most basic tools. It has even been believed that these stones have something to do with aliens who arrived on our planet a long time ago. Number 10. The Stone Head of Guatemala. In the 1950s, in the jungles of Guatemala, a colossal stone head was discovered with unusual features, such as thin lips and a large nose, directed toward the sky. The features seemed to correspond to a Caucasian man, which did not fit with any work of art of the time. Years after its discovery, it was found destroyed. Some maintain that anti-government rebels used it as target practice. However, another Guatemalan archaeologist suggests that the head has characteristics of the Mayan, Nahuatl, Olmec or other pre-Hispanic civilization, which adds a mystery about its origin and destruction. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time. Bye.